have a confession. I'm the student in the classroom that the teacher was always berating for not paying attention. A litany of pleas would come my direction. Put your pencil down. Are you listening? Quit scribbling on the edge of your paper. Pay attention. Eyes up front, not on drawings. The edges of your paper are not for squiggly things. Don't put pictures on your homework. By the time I was in middle school, I felt like I was the evil student who didn't know how to obey. And later, my mother taught me about how she was hounded because she was left-handed. She even had a ruler repeatedly smacked across her tiny hands when she was a small child and learning how to write. I understood what she was saying, even if I didn't have a ruler slapped across my knuckles. I cannot count the number of times I had my pencil taken away from me. And as an adult, I still doodle, despite giving up the habit as a young student. I almost always have a notebook nearby, whether I'm watching TV, reading a book, sitting in church, riding in the car, or doing whatever. This list could just go on and on. Then I started wondering, but can doodling really aid in learning? And it can. As an adult and armed with the ability to research on my own, I sought out learning more about doodling. Doodling, can you imagine? With a notebook at my side, of course, my ever-present guide, if not a crutch, I walked through my public library while my son worked on a school project. There was nothing. There are many wonderful books on art, and I perused them, but I didn't find what I was looking for. And I am sure the librarians intentionally kept the doodling out of the library. You know, some old age code about how to really learn or what really constituted art. Then the internet provided a better resource. I read article after article reaffirming what I already knew instinctively. Doodling does help learning. It helps me. When I doodle and add graphics to my writings, I'm able to quickly locate what I want at a later date. And why not? After all, didn't Da Vinci do the same thing? All right, maybe that's a stretch. One really cannot claim that his drawings were doodles. There are so many wonderful benefits for doodling, and who would have ever known? But doodling actually can relieve tension. Think about that. If you can walk away emotionally from a very stressful learning situation and just squiggle something out on the edge of your paper, it actually is going to relieve tension. It also is very appealing, and it helps a visual learner to retain more information. That certainly helped me. Being able to have a little doodle or a drawing on the edge of my notes helped me to recall the information at a later date and with great efficiency. It helps to process information. Isn't that what we want most as educators and learners, to be able to process information? It actually even acts as a catalyst for problem solving. Think that through, that as you are scribbling down or doodling, you're thinking through other alternatives and ideas, and your mind gets to wander a little bit, making connections that you may not have made prior. It also helps us to scaffold. And what it does is it helps to scaffold ideas and create connections between old information and old knowledge to that new knowledge and that new information. What a great benefit. And remember, this is why educators use graphic organizers to begin with. It adds a dialogue between the hand and the mind. So I want you to think about that. One of the greatest things to do when you're learning is to involve as many senses as possible. If you just listen to a lecture, guess what? You've got one sense, listening. But what if you were to doodle and take some notes as well? Now you've got your ears going, your eyes going, and your touch, as well as creativity, right? Lastly, it improves both memory and focus. There is even research which proves the importance of doodling to help students to pay attention. And guess what? There are even books which teach how to doodle. Can you believe it? It's almost like a revolution. And think, if only I were an elementary age student this day and age, maybe my teachers would proudly display my doodles as a beautiful addition to learning instead of punishing me.